you doing all right? Hey, see, I stayed long enough. I'm gonna start picking some stuff up. Mr. Johnson, thank you for coming on. I'm not gonna pull you up on stage. You have a seat right here, sir. Thank you. Next, our next speaker is Mr. Otsetswe Sedimo. Eh? Hey! Wow, I must be drinking the water too. Thank you, sir. Come on down here. Have a seat. Our next panelist is Mr. Prince Mona. Thank you. Yeah, I'll get up. Thank you. Thank you, Prince. I'm gonna get you guys some water. Make sure everyone's nice and hydrated so we can actually hear from you. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Denham Richards. Now, Mr. Richard is also going to be moderating this event. So I get to take a break from talking, and I appreciate it. So thank you guys so much for being here. Please enjoy Conversations with Khumo.
All right. Thank you everyone for being here. This is very for as Khumo Studios, but more importantly for Botswana, because we want to begin to show everyone that there's so much talent here and the talent needs to be celebrated. And we need to begin to start having conversations in public and not just in silos. And so I'm so honored by all of our esteemed speakers. We're going to be doing essentially probably 45 minutes. I'm going to open up the conversation. Nobody here knows what I'm asking them. So this is what it is. So the whole point of this conversation is so that for those that are in the private sector, that they understand and understand and try to stand how the business of entertainment makes money. But for also those that are in the private sector, they understand how they can also benefit from the entertainment industry. And so what we're going to do is we're essentially going to have about 35 minutes of just cross dialogue, and then we're going to open up to the audience. So this is your opportunity to ask questions. I think we have a hard out. I don't know where Ryan is. He probably ran outside because he's so happy to not be on stage. But I'm sure we have a hard out in like 40 minutes. So I don't want anybody to say that Denham didn't give them enough time. So I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I'm fair to everyone. Okay, so can we just do one thing? Can we just give our speakers and panelists a round of applause before we get into this? Yeah. Okay, give me 1 second. I have to improv. Mayor, do you want to? The mayor of Habrone is here, so I don't know. Should we at least stand up? Do you want to stand up and wave? You don't have to speak. Okay, you can do that. Okay, there you go. Let's give him some love. Okay. Okay, so my timer is on like I'm on a game show, so that's exciting. Okay, so let's get into this. I think everyone has a mic, so I think the way this will work is whoever wants to take the question will take the question. If everyone adds, and we're all adults and we're all professional, we're very happy to answer these questions. Nobody knows what I'm going to ask, including me. So, okay. So whoever wants to take the first one, I'm just going to hand this to you, assuming, I'm not saying that you want to, but just because I can't have the mic next to it. Okay. So thank you everyone for being here. I'm really excited about this. Some of you I've met, some of you I have not met. But I think the best way to open up the conversation is, where is the entertainment industry currently in Botswana? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the current, and then we're going to talk about how we want to get to our ultimate target. And I don't know what our ultimate target is. I know what we have is Khumo, what we want our target to be, but just so that we're all having a conversation. So where are we? What should we celebrate? And what are the struggles? So who wants to take that first question? And then just I know we put it on the screen, but just make sure you say your name and then what role that you have in the world of entertainment, and then we'll go from there. Sound good? And then I'm gonna cut people off. Don't be mad at me. Don't put me in a WhatsApp group and talk about how Denim didn't give anybody a chance to speak. Y'all not saying that. No one's agreeing to that, which means on Monday I'm gonna get roasted. Okay. Prince, you want to take it?
Yeah. Okay.
Is
Thank
it
you
there?
very much.
You can hear him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much. The mic is okay. My name is Prince Monna. I'm the chairperson of the Botswana Film Association. And I think I like that question. I like it because it has a curveball on the presentation that was made by the peers of entrepreneurship. And I think it came at an opportune time. So where is the industry right now? The industry right now, it's trying to find its feet. It is neither formalized nor completely informal. It is somewhere in an intersection, and it is transient, and it's trying to define itself as a formidable business. And what is holding it back? It's the thing that is really close to my heart: and legal framework that enables and creates a conducive environment for this business to not only thrive but upscale and be competitive at a level that the entertainment world, which is according to the UNESCO statistics, is over 120. I mean, it's over $520 billion industry. So basically, where we at right now as Botswana, we experiencing birth pains, but I think we are not ready to be for both as the actually as the enablers who are the policymakers, and also the practitioners who have not yet realized the great and completely virgin you know um, art and cultural nuances that are in this country, which everybody in the international stage is waiting to interface.
So let me ask. It's great. So for anybody else that wants to answer, Prince, if you wanted to do that, what is keeping us from tapping into? Uh, so UNESCO has their numbers, US has their numbers. US numbers are like 837 billion, and within 7 years, it's $1 trillion industry. So 1 trillion is a huge number, right? So for any good business, they usually want 5% of the market, right? So forget 5%. If we just got 1%, what that would do for the GDP of Botswana. So what do you think, and whoever wants to answer, or Prince or whoever else wants to have the opportunity, what do you think is keeping us from tapping into that giant opportunity for market value? Whoever, somebody, don't be shy. Because here's the thing, y'all. I'm good to sit here and talk. I'll just say, just post this thing up and I'll talk. You want to do it? Okay, come on. I think it should be. If not, somebody will do it.
Hi, everyone.
There you go.
My name is Serena Mifinyana, but to make it easy for everyone, my pseudonym is Serena. So, yeah. I am the creative director for NNM Productions, as well as the vice chairperson for Women in Film Guild. And it's basically, hi, women. Thanks for the support. So, in terms of, I'm a little new in this industry, just in terms of I graduated in 2017. But something that I've realized, having grown up in Botswana my whole life, is that creativity for the longest time is seen as more of a hobby. And it's difficult when you're a creative who is exposed to the global diaspora, if I may say, because we do live in a global an opportunistic world, and you see what it can be. Now, the issue with Botswana is we have had this narrative for a very long time that the creative industry is just for it's for entertainment, but entertainment in a hobby level. So even with our government, it almost seems like, it's not worth the numbers because we haven't, as a country, shown those numbers. And it's not that they're not there. It's not that we don't have a market, or it's not that we can't produce for the internationals. But it's a thing of we need to take ourselves seriously, first of all, as the creatives, and then also show our public and our private sectors that this is how we want to get things done. And I think it's also why I co founded Women in Film, because I saw that there is an opportunity to grow. However, we weren't yet at that stage to get it done. And be really like, and slowly but surely mentioned, we are starting to awaken. You can see that we are at a point where no, 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 no. Why is South Africa making money? Why is Nigeria making money? Why aren't we? But look how many we have, over 200 production houses in Botswana. And I think that honestly that says a lot. So it's honestly about our mindset. We need that mindset shift. And I believe in 2023, we're finally seeing the need for that. And that's when we're finally questioning our policies. We're finally questioning our actions in the industry. We're finally even questioning ourselves. I'm first to introspect, to say, like in the Khumo Masters, what am I doing that's not working? How am I branding myself? How am I even learning what the business of film is? Do I know how to pitch? Do I know how to write a budget? Do I know how to get the right frameworks and the right structures so that when I do go to an investor who wants to see the numbers, I know what to say?
It's important. Yeah, you can clap for that. It's okay. It's okay to clap for that. So one of the things that I say sometimes it makes people very uncomfortable is I say the passion is going to make you poor. I'm very big on that because people in the public and private sector that are not in the business of entertainment, like you were just saying eloquently, that they kind of feel like we're playing like dress up, right? We're a bunch of kids that never wanted to grow up. They don't see necessarily how it makes money. And so when you're just coming at them with the passion and I'm an artist and I'm a this, that doesn't resonate with people that want to talk about ROIs, right? My return on my investment and what does this do for my company? And this is why we wanted to show that video at the end where you're seeing Heineken and Ram and all these are spending $100 million on something. And so just for people that don't understand the business necessarily, the numbers that we've shown, that's how much money companies pay for their products to be in a show. What happens is the companies expect a 200% return on that investment. So what does that mean? That means that if a company puts in 40 million into a movie, they expect 80 million back. So they know this is why we show these big movies, because it's big business. And so one of the things I think that we really need to really talk about, which is why I'm so excited that you guys are all here, is to have this discussion of if we can admit that we're experiencing birthing pains, right? We're experiencing some birthing pains and everyone's hungry. So this is me, and everyone's free to push back because nobody knew what I was going to say. So I'm so okay if everyone says I disagree with you. But if we say that we're experiencing some birthing pains and everyone's hungry, and one of our brothers that's very well known in the industry put something on his Facebook the other day that said that essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, that there's essentially not enough opportunities to feed all the entertainers. And what do? And so the question then becomes to all of you that are here, if we can at least agree that we're experiencing birthing pains and we can agree that this is a giant market, what is holding us back? Is it because we want to work in silos? Is it because we have our own thing and we don't want to give our own thing an opportunity to partner with another thing? Or is it because we feel like the people are not prepared? So what is that conversation? I think that's very, very important, because I'm not going to speak for all of our artists, but we speak to so many artists all the time. And for some of them, they feel like that's part of the thing, where it feels like we're working in silos and we're not having this conversation in public to work together. Go back to Prince, and then somebody will throw a dart at my head and tell me that we're done. But go ahead.
I'm Feni Local. I think what you said is true. We're like independently. We are not united. I'm surprised that she says she's doing something with women. Something is like my first time seeing. I know the others, but it's my first time to meet her. You know, it's like every man for himself. We're just there doing our own little thing, you know. And I think the main problem is we are all depending on one body, which is the local broadcasters. I think that's the first error.
Who are those local broadcasters? Because, you know, some people will say I'm new to Botswana. I've only been here for 2.5 years. So who are those local broadcasters?
I think when we produce, we tend to think that we are I mean, when you write, like I'm a writer, I don't write for a broadcaster, I'll tell you this. I write for an audience.
Okay.
But we do have a tendency of depending on broadcasters, your BTV, your Now TV, your UK. And that is it. So what is happening in Botswana is like we are in the manufacturing business. This is like a manufacturing business, but we don't have a distributor. That's the first sin. You can't just keep manufacturing towels and then you keep wearing them. Somebody has to say, I will sell them, you know.
Come on. You can clap. Y'all can clap. Y'all can be supportive.
Another problem that I think we have is, to be very honest, guys, no offense, we don't have producers. We have a producer problem. We have producers who are willing to come in and look for work as producers, whereas the producer is supposed to be the one creating employment. A producer is supposed to come up and say, okay, I have this book, let me adapt it into a film and get a crew and cast and everybody run the show and then say, let's go. But we don't have a lot of people who are pushing to say, I can come up with this production, I can come up with this crew, I can adapt. We've got so many books, Shem.
Oh, we have so many. There's so many stories, right?
So many
What does it
stories.
say? It's like we're the storytellers.
They are
but we
all
don't
over.
have nobody telling the stories.
Yeah. So I think if like this room, if we decide to produce 6 movies this year, we can. But another problem that we have, guys, I think Botswana, this is one part that we've done well. We've never really wasted a lot of time looking for sponsorship. We decided we wanted to get into production. I believe the vision enough to go get a loan. Because if you believe your vision,
you bet it on yourself.
Back it up. You cannot wait 6 years for someone to come somewhere to validate you. So I think that is just the secret that we have.
You bet on yourself.
Of course.
Right? And so speaking to that, which I think is very important, you have an idea and you're not waiting for anyone to validate that idea, because that doesn't feed anyone's families, that doesn't keep the lights on, but more than anything else, it doesn't keep the passion burning.
By the time you are done putting dots on the I's and ticking the boxes, I'm tired of the idea.
So let me ask you a question. For anybody up here, because I don't know, has anybody had to write a proposal for an opportunity? Can raise your hand if you've written a proposal for opportunity. I'm just asking.
Government wants, yes.
So I want to see a collective. You guys are all waiting to see. I'm just asking. I don't know. I've written a proposal or two. So have you written a proposal? Can you raise your hand? Have you written a proposal? Keep your hand up.
Yeah.
I
have for government. Yes.
Have you written a proposal? Okay. So everyone has written a proposal. So let me ask you. So I'm going to go to you next. So with that process, because the entertainment sector is very different than other sectors, right? It's hard to quantify whether fair for me to say. I don't want to. So is that fair to say? No, it's not fair to say.
Yeah, it is fair.
It is fair to say, friends. Friends is looking at me. I don't know. Is that yes? No? I don't know what that means. No, it's fair to say, or yes, it is. No, it's not fair to say. It is. Okay, you see, this is what I deal with. I don't know what that means. Is that fair to say? So it's hard to quantify whether or not something's good when you're writing something down. Because sometimes in the entertainment industry, you can't necessarily say on a piece of paper how an audience is viscerally going to react to a performance, right? And it makes it a little bit different. So as much as there's the business of entertainment, there's also that other side of it where it's the feeling and you're tapping into an audience. You're tapping into what the world is talking about right now, right? And so I'm a firm believer of, as a business, you have to be willing to move off of certain things. And so maybe the world is saying that I want a rom-com, which is a romantic comedy, right? And you want to do a horror movie as a business, but the world wants a rom-com. So as a business, you have to make a decision as a business. Do I want to do horror or do I want to do what the world wants, which is rom-com? But sometimes when you're going to certain businesses, whether it be private sector, public sector, acting for sponsorship, they don't always understand, overstand, or try to stand how it makes sense because they're not used to that type of industry. So how do you then, I guess I'll go to you now, how do you then create content and narratives that speak to the opportunities for the public and private sector to get involved? Or have you made a decision that it doesn't really matter, we just have to go ahead and just keep pushing on as we keep pushing on, and hopefully maybe somebody will come on board?
Good day, everyone. I represent a company called the Torch Studio. My name is Sidimo.
Yeah.
Flowers.
I think I agree mostly with my fellow industry men here. We are in an industry at birth, but already we have people retiring from it before having the harvesting the fruits. And then it's a difficult industry to sell to investors because you are selling dreams basically. And when we came in the industry, it was I would say, a very tarnished industry where people before us didn't have enough training, And then we had to clear our name, prove that our industry is good, it's cheap. When an investor read the proposal, they'll be like, okay, no, we hear you. It sounds good, but can you do it? A lot of people came here and sold us the same dreams, And then you find that we are doing PR, and then we have an issue of it's a centralized distribution buyer. Our biggest buyer is the government. That's what we depend on. The government. We don't have private industry going on where we have funders and investors going on. So what we resort to is we are working with the market, what the market gives us. We are giving them what they want. And hopefully investors will see this and jump on board because they need to see proof now. They've heard a lot of words that didn't work out. People were selling dreams. That's where we are at right now.
So it's great. So are you, and I'm going to ask this one question. We'll do a round. In the US, we call it a round robin, which means it's very quick because I want to jump to the audience and then have them ask. And I have no idea what they're asking. But I'm a big believer. So in the US, like for an example, the zoo. The Most High, because I don't take any credit for the zoo. The Most High put that on my spirit in 2012. And Ryan came into my life. I have no idea where Ryan is at this point. It doesn't matter, but he came into my life in 2015. When we wanted to develop the zoo, we couldn't go to government and say, hey, we have this idea for this thing. We want to put this thing out. The government never said, hey, do a tender or do this or do that. We had to go to the private sector, or I had to essentially work harder so that we could fund it. So my question then, as a round robin, whoever wants to take the question, maybe one, two of you, hopefully some of them will take it, is do you feel like it's important that the private sector, small businesses, begin to get involved in the business of entertainment? Because as we showed on the last still, when you're in houses, there's Cheerios, right? Cereal boxes, and there's coffee, and there's all these other things. And whether you're doing hotels or cars and all that. So there's a lot of those types of small businesses that Botswana is really kind of running on. And in the US, they've had this narrative that the US runs by small business. And based off of some of the, and I'm not a perfectionist off the initiative, so I'm willing to have anybody tell me that I'm wrong, that they want more small businesses to get involved in the opportunities that businesses have. do you see the entertainment sector as an opportunity for small businesses to get involved in these projects?
Thank you very
Please.
much. My name is Johnson Otladisa.
Come on.
I'm an executive producer at Khumo Studios. Um, and I'm also the chairperson for Botswana's.
If this doesn't work, we'll give you my mic. I don't
doesn't.
even care because I don't even like doing that.
And I'm the chairperson for Botswana Screen Society. Um, true, true what you're saying. We're at a very interesting time in our businesses. We're living in a very interesting environment, being Botswana, where we need to do a lot more work to educate and earn the trust of the private sector and of government in the work that we're doing. Most of the people do not understand the opportunity that we present to them. They don't understand the business of film. They don't understand the power of film yet. However, I think it is up to us, and I'm very glad that, I'm seeing the industry being at that space now where we take back our power, where we appreciate the fact that if this thing is going to change, it is up to us. It is not up to government. It is not up to anybody else, but it is up to us. And we have done a lot of work, I think, in terms of focus in Botswana on just the television industry and not on the film industry. And we have done too much work of focusing too much inwards and focusing only on opportunities here at BTV, at Now TV, at UPIC, and just Botswana. And I'm excited. I'm getting very excited because I personally feel there's winds of change now in the country. Last week we were sitting here at a premiere of another movie. We're here today at the Khumo Studios Red Carpet event. There is movement. There's people who are standing up to be counted. And yeah, yeah. And for some time we've been talking to say the whole world is looking for our stories. The whole world is coming for African stories. But us as producers, as industry players in Botswana, where are we? And I would like to challenge. You're challenging me, guys, as a producer. I was sitting here last week as well, getting challenged by other producers to say, what? It really is time, guys. We took back our power. We went out there. We do what we do best, which is tell the stories and take them to the world and access opportunities outside just this country and help our country to be able to appreciate. The day we see a Botswana film making, just 10 million US dollars on the box office, 10 million US dollars is the day this country would wake up.
Y'all know how I get irritated quickly. I'm very temperamental. Okay. So I love that, what you just said. And so what I want to do is I want to piggyback off of what you said. And if you all want to piggyback off of that, I want you all to have the opportunity to do so. But I also want to open up to the audience because I want them to have the opportunity, because really at the end of the day, the artists and others that are in this room, those are the ones that are going to have questions. I don't know that they'll have questions for me necessarily, but maybe they will. Hopefully they challenge me deeply. Okay, great. But what I will tell you with 100% certainty is we are going to make we're going to make all the projects, right? We're going to make films and we're going to make television shows. We're going to make commercials, and they're going to go all over the world. And I think one thing when we have to think about when we're talking about international, we can't just think internationally means the United States or Europe. International is also Zimbabwe. It's also South Africa. It's also Zambia. It's also Namibia. It's also Malawi. It's also, you're right, it's also Tanzania. So we have 54 known countries that make up the continent of Africa. So when we, especially for us as Khumo Studios, we say that we want to tell stories, organic stories for Africa through the African lens, we have so many stories to tell, right? And so one of the things I want to do is I want to jump to the audience. Whoever has a question, please address one of our esteemed panelists with respect. And I'm going to ask our esteemed panelists, say like within a minute and a half, and then we'll have a conversation afterwards. So girl then had her hand up the whole time. Didn't even say open it up yet, and she already had her hand up. Like, bruh. Okay. So let me go ahead and just open that up. Okay, go ahead. I don't know. I'll jump down and say, y'all know how I'm temperamental. I'm good to jump down the stage. 2, 3.
Hi
Come on,
everyone.
come on, come on, come on, come on.
I really promised myself that I wouldn't say anything because of how passionate I am about film, and I knew I'd get emotional, which y'all made the mistake of giving me some wine. So I
You had your
have,
hand up, so now we're
yeah,
worried.
I
So
have
can
a
you give me
couple of
one
thoughts.
question?
Yeah, but I want to give my question context first.
Okay.
I just want to give out a shout out to Serena and Nikita. I know that she's here.
Give her love.
For setting up,
Give her
for
love.
founding the Women in Film
All right, give her
Botswana.
love. Give her love. Give her love.
It's not easy. It hasn't been easy, and I know that they've been so patient. I really, really also want to acknowledge the fact that we as Botswana do a lot of complaining, which is fair, but I don't know that we always approach things with a solutionist mentality, and their patience has literally given me so much encouragement to actually go back and film full force. I've actually told them before how they've inspired me to get back into film because of how solutionist they are and how patient they are with our industry, which is primarily complainist. Yeah, so my question really is about how exactly, what the solutions are to become a scalable industry in a realistic way. I think a lot of the times we aim for the stars, which is great. What's the sky for us?
So I'm not interrupting you. I just want to know because y'all can be. You'll sit there and tell me about how Denim interrupted me. I'm just trying to give
I
context.
have no
Okay,
issues
I
with
know
that. Yeah.
you're passionate. So you can't let me.
Yeah.
So let's talk about quickly. I want them to address solutions.
Yep.
Is the overall question about solutions?
Yes.
Okay. Is that fine if I ask them that? Is that okay? I don't-
Context.
More
right?
context?
Yes.
Okay, come on.
I think, like I'm saying, a lot of the times we work for the stars, right?
Yes.
But I don't think when we scale it down to Botswana, we're being very realistic.
Practical.
Yeah, we're not being practical.
Okay.
And even when you look at international markets like the US, we're not
Yes.
operating like this
Yes.
industry
Yes.
that we want to actually be on their
Be a
level.
part of.
1, 2 is the thing is our population just doesn't allow us.
Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna stop, and I'm gonna cut you off. Every time I've been in, since I've been in 2.5 years, and every time I talk about the opportunities of Botswana, everyone's so excited to tell me about how small the population is. The great thing, and I'm gonna answer this for you, and then maybe you'll ask it to them.
I think if you let me finish.
Okay. See how easy? Come on.
Right? There's countries and other terrains, right, who have managed to achieve a lot and even make it to the Oscars by understanding their terrain.
Yes.
So it is possible to get there.
Yes.
It is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it comes from understanding your terrain.
Yes.
Right? A lot of us want to be 360 production companies. All of us want to be 360 production companies. All of us want to own the cameras. All of us want to do the editing. All of us want to master sound. And then we end up being a master of none because nobody's specializing. And that means nobody is actually scaling. None of us is having a scalable actual business plan. So that's what I mean as in, what are we doing to be scalable? As just recently, I was in South Africa, and with my little, not to belittle our country, but we were having a conversation about intimacy on set. And immediately I was like, oh, they're talking about sex. And they weren't. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, I'm going to be so lost in this conversation because, first of all, BTV won't let you show none of that. So I don't know. And then I was exposed to the fact that intimacy on set actually involves a lot of what we actually do expose on set. A lot of our stories are about rape. A lot of our stories about child abuse. A lot of our stories are GBV. And that also needs
to have a
specialist, and that's scaling. There's people around on sets just teaching people to take care of people, and that's a scalable business.
Okay.
What exactly are we doing to become scalable? Because once we're scalable as individual businesses, then we can get there. The way we're operating right now, gonna
Okay.
fight for opportunities.
Okay, I think
Okay,
I
so
think the
so,
question.
so yeah. So
We're
I'm
getting
gonna
lost.
I'm gonna throw it to you just now. So let's the best way,
Preach.
and I know in a country like Botswana, what do we have like the largest population of elephants? Like the best way that what they say is like there's a Bantu proverb: the best way to handle a problem is to eat the elephant one bite at a time. So let's not try to take all of it in one go. We don't have that type of time, and I want to make sure everybody else has an opportunity. So let's first, and I check marked everything that she said. So I want everyone to have an opportunity. So if you have the opportunity to make it quick so that we can get to everybody else. The first thing that I would say is the opportunity that we have here in Botswana, unlike what it would be like 10, 20, 30 years ago, is the export opportunities. There's so many opportunities now where your projects don't have to live and die just in the country that you're in. There's so many networks that are producing all over the world, right? People know 3 years ago, there's a show called Squid Games that Netflix, Squid Games have been done 10 years prior before anybody was watching it. And it's the highest rated, most watched thing anybody has watched on Netflix. But it was done a decade ago, right? So 10 years ago, Squid Games was done. So when we talk about opportunities, as far as being a smaller country, a smaller population of 2.3, I don't care how many would know, but just a little over 2 million. Our projects don't have to live and die here, but we have to agree that there's a quality. And Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Hulu, they have a standard, right? So let's first address that. And then let's address you're feeling as owners in your worlds, feeling as though you feel like you have to have a 360 on everything, or do you feel like you can invite partners in? And if so, what does that look like? And I'm putting you guys under tremendous pressure. It's not my fault. 1 minute, a minute and a half, 90 seconds. Prince, you guys go, and we'll go to the next person. Let's go.
Thank you. I think the very first thing that we need to be mindful of is value chain. Value chain in the industry has to be completely definable. And we also have to specialize in order for us to grow our trade. We cannot have one person doing everything. You cannot be a jack of all trades. And I also want to speak to I think as people, Botswana, we look down on ourselves because if you listen to the question that the lady was asking, it's contradicting herself. She says complaining, then she complains. Now, we need to keep our eyes on the ball. The opening question was, where is the industry? So I think, what is the take home for people who are here, who are not practitioners, but perhaps potential investors? What have they heard? Where are we? Have you given them a roadmap where they can assess and find us and say, what is our strategic key performance areas for me to scale up this industry to the level it wants to be? We're not doing that. We are talk shopping and getting out of the topic. We are talking in tangents. So I think we need to first put our money where our minds are and be able to articulate the business and where we want to be and be precise and concise in terms of where we want to be so that we have a roadmap where we can be found, have a location. Thank you.
Yes, great. Thank you for taking 90 seconds. So, go ahead.
Great. My personal conviction is that if you can survive a hostile environment of business like this country called Botswana, you can be. There is the sky is not even limit. The sky is even the limit for you. There's a whole lot out there you can achieve. I personally am a big believer in the producers and the creatives that are coming out of this country. And I'm a personal great believer that 5 to 10 years from now, we're going to see a lot of success stories coming from this country at an international level. We have been grilled, we've been tested, and we have not been found wanting. We've not been found wanting. We're still here. And I just would like to, like Prince is saying as well, just as a take home, maybe for people who are here who don't know much about our industry, to say this is the best time to know what we're doing, to know the value that we can bring to the country. Also, this is the best time for you to pay attention and see what is going to be happening in this country. In terms of the moves that are going to happen, there's a lot of education that has gone into this industry in terms of understanding where it can go and how we can be able to take it there. And I am just personally excited, man. I'm looking forward to the next coming 5 years. I believe there's a lot we've done, guys. There's a lot of battles we've fought, very important battles we've won. There's a lot of good political will, around us. The ball is really on our court. The ball is really on our court.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Come on. I'm gonna go right down the line so everybody
Alright,
has an opportunity.
I'll take
She's
it
gonna
back.
go. Do you want to go? I don't want to skip. Because here's the problem. I don't want to be known as the person that was skipping everyone. So I'm protecting myself.
It's all right.
So can you go and then she goes and then he goes? I'll give you my mic. I want everyone to go and answer the question.
All right. I've been trying to just figure out how I'm gonna package my answer, and I don't know. I feel like so far there are three words that are coming into mind that are really sticking out for me, and that's knowledge, trust, and collaboration. One thing we cannot avoid, we can't avoid the elephant in the room, and that big elephant that we always see, that we always is the fact that truthfully our industry has been around for a very long time, and unfortunately it's been difficult to grow it because indeed we're fighting a lot of battles from the past, and one of those battles from the past is that it's at some point it's been monopolized. At some point there has been a lot of um, quality let down. At some point there was even, we still are battling the fact that it's difficult to meet as collaborate and actually share our specialized skills. And until we can actually say, first of all, this is what I'm doing, I'm a scriptwriter and I need an editor and I need a producer and I need a cinematographer and I need the actor, because that's how the industry works. That's first of all now the knowledge part, is understanding that this is what we need to do in order to grow. And also the knowledge also gets us to understand that the growth comes from collaborating, and it comes, and that's how the money comes in. But to even get to that collaborative aspect is now we need to unlearn the fact that we come from this amazingly not so great platform and say we need to now actually work together for the greater good. And the only way that we can do that is by building trust. We are at a point in our industry where we need to rebuild the trust. We're at a point in our industry where we need to let go of saying, if I share this idea with someone, they're going to take it and run. And true, that can happen. But then our knowledge also tells us we have NDAs, we have MOUs, we have contracts that we sign that literally I say, I will sue you, Danam, if you take my stuff.
Well, first of all, you don't have to worry about. I'm not going to take. I
So,
think
yeah.
it's a great thing, because I think one of the things that we always say is, would you rather have 50% of something or 100% of nothing?
Exactly. And
And-
that's the fun part about our industry is the 10% that we keep making with every single project end up making the 100%.
You see.
And the thing about our industry is it is collaborative, not just within the film departments. It's collaborative in the sense that when you say you need an actress, the actress needs to be dressed. That's wardrobe. That's the textile industry. You say you need catering or even just on set. That's the food industry.
It's the only
That's
industry
how
in the
we are.
world that can empower every industry.
Exactly.
right?
And we keep saying that we need to fight unemployment in our country. We can do that if we all work together. So that's And we can only work together if we build that trust.
I agree.
And we build that trust once we equip ourselves with the right
Y'all
knowledge.
agree? Yeah. No one agrees.
Fantastic.
No one
Yay.
agrees.
Sorry.
I don't know who has the mic.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Bro,
I
how
got.
did you get the mic?
I
They haven't even answered.
I
the
made
question,
moves, fam. I made things happen.
bruh.
Sorry,
Bro,
brother.
what's happening?
Yes.
You
I'm-
gonna ad lib? Make
Yeah.
it quick.
Yes, I just want to get quick. I'm
2
sorry. I
seconds.
need to leave.
Go
My
ahead.
name is Tulani Tau. I'm Secretary General of Botswana Actors Guild, also Large Guy Productions. My main issue, I just want to touch note. You've answered most of the issues I had was on what policies can we do to create, to protect creatives, and also some way that we can get together on protecting artists and creatives on being exploited. For example, you know, when you share your ideas, like she said, for example,
We have
we
an
need a
ND.
database, guys, of where if you share info or anything, you know how to channel to the right people. For example, how to protect your creative intellectual property. And as well as how can we also get together for Boto? Because producers, you know, and several creative industry people, they exploit each other. But how can we come together for the benefit of all of us in terms of creatives, actors? Let's benchmark out there on having minimum pay on certain things. You know, certain requirements like actors cannot
A s-
always come
a
and have their own
standard.
costumes, etc. Yes,
1 second. Let me have.
a
Hold on 1
standard,
second,
yes.
because
I'm sorry.
I want you to. No, I appreciate you.
Yes,
you
I'm
good?
sorry.
I'm gonna round off, and if you disagree with what I'm saying, you'll jump in. 'Cause you
Yes,
have the
and
mic.
I apologize for jumping in. I just have to.
That's what
leave,
everybody
sorry.
says as
Yeah.
they jump in, right?
Apologies.
See what I'm saying? I hate when I hate to interrupt. As you're interrupting, or to answer the thing, but also at the same time, I love our people. So, but also at the same, I want you to be able to have to answer beforehand, but also at the same time, this is the importance of having like NDAs and MOUs, memorandums of understandings, right? NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. So there are opportunities to be able to have our work be protected. But I think more than anything, I think it goes back to, and I want you to pretend like that didn't happen yet, because it has to do with the trust. But by a show of clapping or applause or something, can we agree that we need to have more of this type of conversation? No one is really saying anything. I have my own actors that I'm looking at that are like. So when I say by a show of hands or by verbal, is this something that we should have more conversations about? So that doesn't sound like, so this will be the last time we have this conversation.
But I
Great.
think,
So you go ahead and answer that question.
before I go to Tulani, I think we can't compete with Hollywood and her budget. We can't compete with the equipment that Hollywood has. But I think we can compete at story level. We can tell our stories authentically. And I believe that is our strength. You need to know your strength as a creative. What are your strengths? We are good at storytelling. We have stories to tell. Let us capitalize there. And another thing, Botswana is a peaceful country. That is how you can get people here. The economy is very stable. We've got beautiful locations like, you know, the tourist.
Kasane,
You know, there's no reason why we don't have a film, you know, that is shot in Ghana. I mean, really, a lot of people fly into the country just to go see that. Why don't we? And we've always said that a lot of foreigners come here and make documentaries, but we live in Kasane and we do nothing about it. Let's not complain if we're not going to do anything about it. And then going back to Ishia exploiting performers or talent, guys, let me tell you a little story. I'll be very short. I've been in the industry for 21 years. I think I'm the first Botswana to produce a television drama. Let me tell you how it all works. This is how content has been acquired in the country. There's a system that they call unsolicited. It simply means, in simple,
layman's, just
you build the road from here to Francistown, And then the broadcaster will have a look and say, oh, nice road, I'll buy it, or I won't buy it. You won't believe the amount of sweat and money that went into that production just for it to be turned down. That is how we've been working, unsolicited. You produce, I watch, I decide if I like it after everything
How
is
does
done.
that, after 21 years, how does that make you feel?
Eish.
No. I just, yeah, make you feel.
We survived. Tell you, we survived.
But how
it
many haven't?
doesn't-
But how many haven't?
A lot of women especially dropped away. It doesn't work for the industry. Somehow we are fortunate because we are commissioned by Botswana Television to produce Botshelo, the series, for 3 years. But not everybody has that. It's really a blessing. But we managed, Flavia Productions or Botswood managed because of collaborating with talent. This is what I used to do. Guys, I used to have actors dress themselves. Now they don't. I used to even have some scenes filmed at actors' homes. Like Maudi Relay would allow me to film at home. I didn't have money. Either we do nothing, we do something. So we even had contracts that said, if I get paid, you will get paid. Because it was either I sit and do nothing or we collaborate into this dream that we have. And then if it bears fruit, we share. That is how it was. Now, yes, where we are as Botswood, we do dress actors. We have a studio there in Rasesa. When we film, the performers stay there for 4 months. It has changed, but it had to start somewhere. And I don't think we were exploiting talent. Something had to be done, or else there was not going to be an industry at all.
Nothing's going to happen. And I think that's I want to go to you because I guess he's going to be last. But I want to touch on that because I think the last thing you said was very important. There's a difference between experience, having an opportunity to experience something, and being exploited. The difference between having someone going to do this for exposure and being exposed. And so what she's talking about is saying, and you can interrupt, I don't want to wait around and wait for somebody to tell me that my ideas are great. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to do everything that I can to put myself and others in the best opportunity to have an opportunity to have exposure. And I can't get everything right. I can't pay you your market value all the time because I don't have anything. So I'm waiting and I'm hoping that if the private sector sees that I'm betting on myself and that others are willing to buy into what I'm betting on myself, they'll come behind. So overstand and try to stand that sometimes in this business of entertainment, it's not always about the fact that you're being taken advantage of. We're in an industry that's still growing, going through birth pains, that's still trying to figure out what we can't do. And with sometimes the limited amount of financial opportunities that we have, that doesn't take away from our stories that we want to tell. We don't want our stories to be diminished. Can you hear that? Can we agree to that? Until the first of the month when everyone wants to turn their lights on. Come on.
Just to add on for a second, like you're saying,
And then
Botshelo, the project that I'm talking about, it went 3 seasons without support, just the talent and crew, sacrificing. BTV started supporting the project at 4 seasons. So now we're in the same team that was helping
for 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
That you have for
the actors now don't have a problem. They've got jobs
clap.
guaranteed.
Y'all should clap for that. I don't have that. Thank you. Come on.
I think I agree with Feni answering the first question from Maseho. We have a serious problem of human resource. We need dreamers. I think even people from the Ministry of Entrepreneurship know that Feni was able to sell dreams to fellow creatives. Even as we have a project that we had to run for a couple of years online for free until it was acquired by a TV station. And when I say we need dreamers, is the only time I hear a conversation of people wanting to take their productions outside is when the government doesn't buy. And when it buys, it takes everything on the market, on the shelves. And then we are left with nothing to export. We only talk about exporting when the government doesn't buy. For me, it shows that we don't dream about going comfortable. We are okay with what the government and the market is giving us at the moment. But we need to be able to dream. I think we are a spoiled industry too, because the government buys everything and is the biggest supporter. If we have people who have been commissioned to supply, to provide movies for the government television stations, but they fail to do so sometimes. That's why I say we are spoiled. We only talk about exporting when the government doesn't buy. When it buys, we are comfortable. Everyone is quiet about the conversation. So we need to do more about that.
So thank you. So I know Ryan's on stage, which means I gotta round the corner and go to the finish line. It's like the bad parent. I think this conversation was important for us, and so I want to. Can you give a round of applause to all of our panelists? Than anything, I know that 95% of the questions that wanted to be asked and weren't able to be answered. But I think this is great for us, because what I would like you to do is I would like you to hammer Khumo with the fact of we feel like we should have had more. And so instead of going back into your silos, into your WhatsApp groups, into your Facebook page, your Instagrams, your TikToks, or your whatnots, or your Kit Kats, and talking about what you would like to see differently, just message us. Because what we take very seriously is this opportunity. Nobody here said that they had to talk about a specific thing. Y'all can tell me if I'm lying. Nobody had to talk about a specific thing. No one had to say about how they're partnering with Khumo. It's not about Khumo. It's about us saying that we believe in the arts and entertainment culture of Botswana. And we want so badly for people in the public and the private sector to see the value that we have, because like I said eloquently for 2.5 years that Botswana is known for their diamonds, but it's not the things that are underground, and that's you. So if you can give our esteemed panelists a round of applause. You all have bags. Hopefully y'all take them, please. And then lastly, we are doing, I know Ryan, you're going to say, I don't know if you're going to say it. We want to invite everyone to Elements, which is around the corner. For our VIPs and things of that, the first drinks are on me. It's very expensive. So tomorrow I'm flying back to the US so that I can make the money to be able to do that. But we have do we have a question? Okay, wait, we have a question. So for this question, we'll go ahead and take our
because
time.
it's the question from the
PS.
The PS of
So
entrepreneurship.
You want to?
But just everyone, please. We will continue this conversation, the entire conversation, around the corner and Element, so we can keep talking. We're not all going home. We're gonna be sitting over there, so you can come over and chat it up. Hopefully, some of you guys will come over as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the PS of entrepreneurship.
Go ahead, sir.
Chris, you want to come on stage?
I can come on stage, fine. No, no. Thank you very much. I've got 2 comments to make. It's not a question per se. And firstly, let me share that I happen to have met with Prince and other industry players, and we still have an assignment to complete. And I believe that from here we should engage and see how we can progress on the issues that we were to tackle the last time we met. The second thing is, as I was listening to the conversations, I can pick that the biggest challenge is the intractable market constraints for this industry. But key amongst them is fragmentation of the value chains for the creative industry. And if I may pose a question, one of the presenters talked about 200 production houses. And if I may ask, is there any way they work together? Is there any way they cooperate? And I won't be surprised to find they are all operating in silos. And that alone becomes an avenue for exploitation that I'm talking about. Now, what I talk about is that, yes, you are in the business of providing the what's called the intangible products or intangibles, let me say so. But this is not in any way different from any other industry which is providing a tangible product or any other service. And in that case, you need to adopt a market demand driven approach in producing your product. That's my advice. And how can this happen? Firstly, you need to start with the end market. Before you can start producing whatever you're producing, you need to know where the market is. And from what I gather from the presentations here, we have seen where the lucrative markets are. But that is not enough. What is the taste and preference of those markets? What are the standards? He talked about the standards. Once you understand that, what is needed by those markets? Stage 2, then you need some sort of anchors or distributors. And this is where now you need the likes of Khumo Studios, because they understand the all the dynamics, and that better interact directly with those on your behalf. Stage 3, what you need to do now is, you know what the market is. You know what is the demand of those markets. You know the taste and preferences. You know the standards. You have somebody who can be the umbilical cord between you and those markets. This is where now stage 3, you start producing what is needed by the market. And it's very key that this is where now you need to build that resilient ecosystem that needs different players. You need cooperation, you need partnership. But as I said earlier on, you still operate in silos. That's one area that we need to focus on to ensure that we do away with those fragmentations that we see in the value chains for this industry. Most importantly, IPs. We have got brilliant producers here with a brilliant creativity in this country. A lot of times, yes, some of you will raise those IPs, but a lot of times you don't commercialize them. I'll give you a typical example. We are known for our traditional music, but what we see now, South Africa, they've copied it from us, they're doing it better than us. Traditional music, we know. Why is this happening? We failed to protect this, and before you know it, those guys will have created IPs and they'll have taken this from us. Lastly, stage 4, we have the financial here. She's listening, and she's here to provide that support. She's here to listen to you as to where are the opportunities, where are the challenges, and for as long as you show that you are focused, then she's here to say, you have a market, but the guarantee won't see risk in what you are doing. And for that reason, it will be easy for her to have a conversation with you to provide that much needed funding. So from a policy perspective, that's what I can share. Thank you very much.
So just quickly, I know Ryan's gonna come on. I know this is what happens. But I think overall, the reason why we wanted to have this was because we wanted to engage the public and the private sector. And we wanted it to be a conversation not about how all of the bad things are happening, but what are the solutions, what are the opportunities. And so we also overstand, and I say overstand a lot because I don't like to under anything. So the conversation about how do we stop doing things inside. It's not about one thing that we say, and I'm going to leave it at this. We oftentimes talk about how we want to have a thriving entertainment industry, but we never have a conversation about who wants to be the driver of that entertainment industry. And so what happens is we all agree until we realize that we're not necessarily the person that's going to be driving it. And so what happens then becomes the conversation I was having earlier, which is, do we want to have 50% of something or 100% of nothing? And is it really about us and employing Botswana and the country of Botswana have a higher GDP, having more tourism, having more job creation? Or is it really just about us as individuals wanting our idea to be shown all over the world? And that becomes the difference between our ego and our opportunity. So as you're leaving this today, what I would hope that you get from this conversation is not necessarily about Khumo and what Khumo Studios is doing, but making sure that you hold all of us accountable for what it is that we're doing. We're talking about wanting to have a better industry. We're talking about wanting to celebrate artists and directors and producers and DOPs and writers. But we have to make sure that you that are listening to this hold us to that very standard. So if we are not holding ourselves to that standard, then we're nothing without you. Can we agree to that? Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at this. We have to go. So y'all, we have this conversation at Elements, VIP,
Yes.
the drinks are on me the first round, and then I'm leaving tomorrow for the US.
Yikes. So let's, again, thank you all for coming out. This has been a really great evening. Thank you to our panelists for being here and being a part of this conversation. Hey, and I want to, again, every single person in this room, you are invited to come over to Element and continue the
Turn my mic on.
conversation.
Can we also,
Yeah.
just real quick, I know.
Sure.
Y'all, can you give, they're back here behind
that's
this,
right, the
this
team.
big giant
The
screen.
team.
Guys,
Take
we
it
can't,
down.
it's like this
Take it
whole
down.
thing. Can I take it down?
Take it down.
Look at this.
Reveal what's
But they're
behind
not
the
even
curtain.
all here. Guys, just
Reveal
quickly,
who's behind the curtain.
can I no, they're being selfish.
Yeah.
But I came here two and a half important. I came here 2.5 years ago, and I had the fortunate opportunity to be able to meet two people that have drastically changed my life. One of them is here right now. The other one is hiding behind something. But this is Ona that spoke earlier, and then Kay, who's going to be behind some camera or something. To Botswana. And it was very important for me because when I first got here, the first thing I did was get on Twitter, and I had typed in like hashtag bots, hashtag Gabs, and I read everybody's like description of like, I'm a writer, I'm a director, I'm a producer. And so I said like, hey, I would message a whole bunch of people, say, can I take you out to lunch? And so the first lunch that I went to was at Main Deck at Main Mall. And the first person that, well, she was the last person that was there. She likes to be late, was Ona, because she said, I don't think I was at the right one because there was another one. And so she was there. And then she said, you know, you got to come to our place where I have my partner who I've been in partnership with for 14 years. And so I went that day and I met her partner, Kay, who they've started a business 14 years ago. And then they drove me around the whole of Botswana in one day and said, these are the opportunities that we have. And I was like, bro, I'm all in. So what I really want to do more than anything before we go is I need Ona, stand up. You're right here. Stop acting like you're on your phone. You can't hear me. Ona, and then Kay, I can see you. Just thing. This is Ona and Kay. I need everybody to know. I need everyone to stand. I don't want you to clap. I need you to stand because these are the reasons why I'm still in the country of Botswana. So I need you all to give them love and appreciation because they have been working so hard behind the scenes for the last 14 years, wanting this creative industry to thrive. And so because of them is the reason why we're here tonight. So as Ryan said, we want to have this conversation, keep going at Elements.
Let's encourage everyone to come on over and continue the conversation. No, I'm not buying drinks for everybody, but maybe a couple of you. I don't know. We'll see. That's a different conversation. All right, guys, thank you for coming out. We appreciate you guys. This has been great. You look amazing, Botswana. This has been an amazing.
Countless nights without no sleep. you deny it, but still don't read. 'Cause there's anger in your heart, this heart is made of stone, you're heartless. When happiness is right in front of you, all you see is stars.